Hi, gamers.
The MSC announced the departure of Flight 601 to Montreal and Toronto. Passengers for this flight should proceed through passport control on the first floor to the departure lounge. Passengers for the MSC Flight 601. Toronto Airlines announced the departure of the first of Flight 771 to Chicago and San Francisco. Passengers on this flight should proceed through passport control on the first floor to the departure lounge. This flight is now boarding at gate number 20. Israel Airlines announced the departure of Flight 15 to New York. Passengers for this flight should proceed through passport control on the first floor to the departure lounge. Please contact the BOAC desk. the USB desk.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello, everyone. Hello. Hi. Hi. Hello, Colin. Hello, Bug. Hello, Taimichi. Hello, uh, Agnar. Hello, Pav. Hello,
Hi.
Michael. Hello, Quavi.
Hi, Forrest.
Hi. 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 Welcome to my computer. You're in the computer, at the computer. What's going on?
Please get me out. Please get me out of your computer. I'm already a computer. I don't need this.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You can be in the computer. The computer is old for like old things.
Thank God. Imagine if you put me into like a fucking like Windows 11 machine, I would probably have a panic attack. So, thank God this is only running Vista.
What is your operating system of choice?
Operating system of choice. Currently, all the music that I produce is done on Mac OS. But for just like generally messing around, I really like the Big Cat versions of OS X and OS 10, stuff like Mac OS Panther and Jaguar, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, they don't call it OS 10 anymore. Isn't it just called Mac OS now?
Yeah, but I still call it OS 10 because it's pretty much the exact same thing.
I kind of miss her.
Mhm. I miss when they were named after cats instead of mountains. Really playing up to the furry crowd tonight. Hi everyone.
Hi furries. I don't know how many people in the chat box are actually furries. It's just like I think there's like at least two.
Yep. Anyways, those are probably like my favorite like computer systems to just sort of like mess around with. Sort of early 2000s and late 90s OSs and machines are what I mainly spend most of my time on.
What about the 90s and 2000s operating systems appeals to you?
It's mainly just how like different and still kind of like futuristic that a lot of it feels like. There was a certain optimism that came from the early age of the internet and when people were just starting to like get computers in their homes and everything was super super futuristic, super colorful, and just like really really visually appealing, and nothing else really looks or feels like that even now. And a large part of it is nostalgia because that's the type of stuff that I grew up with, but it really is just a sense of preferring things that look nice instead of the things that are more usable but are also just boring.
What specifically about the design philosophy of that era appeals to you?
The overall philosophy of just, I don't know, using technology to make our lives better instead of worse, I still oddly sort of believe in that. And even though that I have like deleted my social media and stuff like that, I still have a lot of fondness for just, I don't know, being able to make something with just like bleeps and bloops. And I really do feel like that sort of era of computers kind of like speaks to that, you know?
Yeah. What do you think of the current era computer we're in now?
Uh, Kind of sucks, not gonna lie. I mean, I'm still using one, but I really feel like the general sort of personality and human touch of a lot of things has really gone by the wayside. And it's more so less of a means of self expression when it comes to just general sort of like how we present ourselves online and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it honestly has become more product focused, I feel. Like when it comes to things, it's mainly just there to like sell you more stuff instead of to, help you type an essay or something.
So what do you? So I must ask. I must ask. Have you ever hopped on the Linux ecosystem and fucked around with that?
Oh yeah, Linux is fun, but I really need to learn more about terminal. I have always kind of sucked at noticing like super small errors, especially when it comes to code. So whenever it happens that I put like a backslash in the wrong place where a backslash shouldn't be, or a space where a space shouldn't be, it really comes down to like large amounts of trial and error. And as much as I love like the Linux systems, I really feel more comfortable with Mac OS because that's just what I grew up with, and that's what I've been using ever since I was like 2.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But we immediately started with talking about computers talk. We should probably work our way there. Who are you? Let's start here. Let's
Oh,
start with who are you?
yeah, we kind of glossed over that.
Yeah. Who is
My
this
name
person on a
is,
computer?
yeah, my name's Agnar, and I make cool cassette tapes that you can listen to. And I like just general sort of like retro tech futurism, and I enjoy cartoons, video games, and all that cool stuff.
Can you give me a quick rundown of what you do?
So, what I mainly do and what I'm currently focused on is making music. And the best way I can sort of like describe the style of my music is sort of like a weird the mishmash between like early 2000s IDM and the vaporwave in a sense that it sort of takes these somewhat nostalgic sounds and somewhat familiar sounds, but actually makes them a bit more melancholy and haunting. And I really love making music that's super glitchy and almost textural, but also very emotionally evocative. And that's sort of like what I focus on. And I try to make music that sort of like speaks to me and my own memories and my own sensibilities, and hope that someone out there can relate to them.
What about well, hold on. Something in my throat. Okay, we're good. What are you
You're good.
currently what are the projects you're currently working on?
Well, right now I am working on a more traditional synth-based project, and that has been going on along pretty slowly since I tend to like one up myself with every like mainline album that I make. So I'm really trying to really yeah be super perfectionist on this one, which I'm hopefully going to have that done by the start of next year, 2026. And the other sort of like oddly less ambitious project is I'm sure if you follow Vaporwave, you know about signal wave and broken transmission. I'm trying to put together a 24-hour long album of broken transmission that I have been making in Logic and Plug Data.
Do you have a planned release date for this, or is it up in the air still?
My main goal to have it done is August 1st, but I'm pretty sure the next Bandcamp Friday, whenever that is, that's when the 24-hour album is going to be released.
Hmm. For the longest time, I thought Bandcamp Friday just meant every Friday.
Yeah, I thought that too, but it's always like a really weird thing. Sometimes the first Friday of the month is Bandcamp Friday, but then they skip like 3 months And then yeah, there's no real like pattern to it at all.
It. I wonder if they have like a calendar for when it is. That would be like really useful for like releases.
Yeah, I think there's someone that tracks it out there, but it's always sort of like a guessing game.
You know what? I kind of want to check right now. I'm gonna check right now. Bandcamp Friday calendar. We have access to computers. Is it Bandcamp Friday? Like Bandcamp Friday is August 1st. Okay.
Yep, that's when I'm hoping to have that project out. And my main sort of goal with it is personally, I don't think I'm gonna like ever listen to the entire thing in my lifetime, all 24 hours of it. But I really like the idea of just someone that just having the album on in the background throughout the day, like on loop, just sort of like as like in ambience, pretty much.
Yeah. Have you ever? Are you by any chance? Have you by any chance ever listened to something like Conet Project?
Conan Project?
The Conet Project.
Oh, the Conet
Conet.
Project.
That's how it's
Yeah.
pronounced.
Mhm. Yeah, I've always I haven't always been really interested in the shortwave radio, but it is really really interesting, and yeah, I find that stuff like super super cool. I really need to get more into like, radio stuff as a hobby because everything that I've heard about it seems like super super interesting.
I wonder how much of it is like illegal radio broadcast.
Yeah. One thing that I've always wanted to do was make like a super low powered analog TV station inside my house. I know that's not exactly something that you're supposed to do, but it's very cheap and easy. But so you can just broadcast whatever you want in a very short radius to like a TV with a pair of antennas.
Have
Yeah, but other than that, it's, I know the Kana project because it was sampled a lot by a bunch of different artists, and even the collection on it itself is just like really, really interesting to listen to. Just the whole mystery behind it.
Yeah. It's like there's so much out there, there's so much sound that can be made out there. There's so many sounds that are already out there that we don't really know what they mean. Other than like five people probably.
Exactly.
But as for your music, how would you describe it to how would you describe it to like a medieval urchin who just like spent their last dollar on a cup of gruel in like 19 in like the 1500s and they just had the best gruel of their life because someone put like a thimble of salt in it.
My music sounds like you just got done with that gruel, and now you're thinking, "Damn, that's cool, good gruel," but I know it's never gonna happen again, and you just get really sad, and you're just in like the gruel zone.
Now, how would you describe it as someone who spends $50 a month on Rate Your Music Premium?
Oh my god. So it's a very much like glitchy IDM vaporwave with down tempo chillwave sensibilities. Basically, taking imagine an artist like Boards of Canada, for example, but instead of the nostalgia and melancholy for like the 70s and 80s, it's for the 2000s.
You know, I never registered that's what Boards of Canada was trying to evoke. Wait, I just thought cool sounds.
Yeah, they are cool sounds.
They're such cool
That
sounds.
okay? I retract my statement. My real answer is I make cool sounds.
Ooh, to the urchin or the Rate Your Music guy?
Both.
Ooh,
Yeah, it kind of works either way.
that's true. The Rate Your Music guy is probably gonna give you 5,000 micro genres.
Hmm.
We're on. What
Yeah.
are we on right now? Are we still on Slush Wave, or are we past Slush Wave?
Uh, I haven't really been. I know that slush wave is like still a thing, but I'm not really sure what the current like big like huge subgenre at the moment is. I've just sort of like cradled my self into my own niche, and I've been sort of like focusing on trying to basically make stuff that only I can really make,
Yeah.
while also being inspired by stuff like slush wave or broken transmission or IDM.
What would you say is your biggest inspiration for making this type of sound?
Ah, there's a lot of like inspirations that I take from growing up. I really loved the Animusic series of videos. If you know what those are, they are these like little music video compilations of these robots and these different machines playing along to these songs. And that was like one of my absolute favorite things growing up, and is partially the reason why I have to pretty much visualize whatever may be listening to when it comes to music. And, other than that, I did grow up listening to a lot of electronic music. I was really big in, and still am big into like Daft Punk. I really love a lot of down tempo as well. But just my main sort of inspiration are uh, pretty much sounds that I surrounded sort of like growing up with, and just sort of like the general emotions I have attached to them. If it would be memories of being on my mother's computer, memories of just watching old commercial breaks. There's a lot of different things that I tend to pull from, but I'd say a lot of it comes from this sort of sense of retrofuturism, I feel.
Do you think that? Well, do you think that a lot of the soundscapes that were prominent in the 2000s have what? Sorry, let me rephrase. What do you think of the soundscapes that were like prominent in the 2000s and stuff like Verizon commercial that don't you don't see anymore?
Yeah, like for example, Bobby's Play was licensed constantly back in the day, and whenever I watch like an old tape of like TV recordings, I'll would see a commercial break that has like the Amen break sampled in it or something like that, or like these really cool sounding like atmospheric synth pads, and I'm like, wow, this is actually like the music I listen to regularly. And most of the time, I feel like a lot of commercials nowadays are there just to annoy you. So you just like buy into streaming pretty much. Well, so yeah, a lot of this is talking from like rose-colored glasses, but it really comes down to just like a different sort of like sensibility and a need for like the purpose of advertising and commercial art, pretty much.
From the 2000s to the 2010s, like early 2010s, mid to and early 2000s, there the aesthetic of the era was very shiny and glossy, and it continued to progress until the classic Windows 7 look.
Hmm.
Do you ever? What do you think of the shift from that aesthetic to everything getting like flatter?
I understand why it happened, but again, this is primarily just my own tastes. But it really did feel like appealing to the lowest common denominator. As much as I really love graphic art and being able to just like instantly see something and recognize it as something, I really do miss how like generally creative a lot of user interfaces or icons or stuff like that used to be like.
Do you think that musical sensibilities have also changed in that transition?
Actually, I feel like music has kind of gone in the opposite direction. I feel where, especially in electronic music, people started to innovate, and people just kept on innovating. And of course, there's like more commercial and radio friendly sort of like stuff out there, but when it comes to people just making electronic music for the sake of making electronic music, there's always going to be someone sort of like coming up with like another sort of like cool idea that people are just sort of going to like bounce off of and get inspired by. And that's what I really like about electronic music in general is you can just pretty much make whatever like weird sound you want, and you can just go ahead and create something.
What has been your what sounds in specific have been the most inspiring to you outside of things such as jingles or outside of things such as jingles or the 2000 soundscape?
Uh, well, growing up in Montana, I was very much surrounded by nature a lot, so I really love sounds that to feel almost natural, but also have sort of like a strange uncanniness to them. Also, I just love sounds that are very textural and feels like you could like I don't know reach out and grab it or something like that. And other than stuff like that, I am also really inspired by yeah old film soundtracks, old video game soundtracks, and another thing that sort of like plays into like uh, commercial art is the startup noises to like video game consoles is something that I take a lot of inspiration from.
A common thing I see with a lot of design abilities from the 2000s is this coalescence of this like combination of the natural world and technology and things like we're using Windows Vista as the example, seeing how it was pulling a lot from nature in
Mhm.
like its design language. What do you think of the combination of the two? And what can be done in with such things,
Mhm.
both from a
Well,
musical and a design perspective. My bad.
I do feel like it brings like an interesting contrast and parallel of this sort of like weird corporate idealism and just this sort of the general sense of like being you know a part of your surroundings and being a part of nature. With stuff like the Aqua interface and the Arrow interface in Windows Vista, what really strikes me about it is it only really could have been made during that time period. I feel like things are just like way too bland and cynical for something like that to be a part of our day-to-day lives nowadays. But I do feel like it brings like a very interesting contrast between you know nature and how we use technology in our day-to-day lives.
You earlier we were talking about the optimism that a lot of technology from the time period of like the 2000s early internet came with it about, oh, the future is here, we have so much we can do. And I think a lot of this kind of influenced the nature with technology. Do you think we'll
Mhm.
ever get that type of optimism back in the tech world or in the tech world or in like a musical sense or in any sense?
Well, I do feel like people are definitely trying to sort of like recapture that feeling especially in a lot of like modern internet art. And there's plenty of people trying to incorporate those types of themes in to music and all that. But in general, I feel like the best thing that we can do is sort of I don't know, uh, not really see the internet or what we use in terms of computers as sort of like an obligation. It really should go back to being sort of like a fun hobby, which is something that I have also been sort of like focusing on. And for that, I have just been able to sort of like appreciate things more and have a life both the URL and IRL.
A lot. There's been a big resurgence of the 2000s aesthetic, which reminds me of the vapor of how vaporwave was when I was growing up. How back in the 2010s, everyone was becoming nostalgic for computers in the 90s, and now I feel something similar for computers of the 2000s. What do you think of seeing this progression?
Well, I really do feel like it was only a matter of time as I when I first got into vaporwave and learned about all of its sort of like ideals and sensibilities, I just sort of like realized that no one else was sort of taking those concepts and applying them to stuff from the 2000s and stuff that I sort of like grew up around. So that's sort of what inspired me to actually start releasing stuff publicly. But I really do feel like as people began to mature and as this sort of like period of time continues to grow farther and farther away, that's more and more of that sort of like haunting feeling will actually start to surround it.
Do you think that the vape that what was that well the vaporwave that community like vaporwave a movement like vaporwave from like 2015 will happen soon with the 2000s instead of the 90s aesthetic, or do you think it's currently happening?
I think it kind of is currently happening. Like there's a lot of people trying to bring back sort of like atmospheric drum and bass and sort of like that indie tronica type sound that was super prevalent. But also, I feel like vaporwave was just sort of like this perfect storm of all these different cultures when it came from like visual design and people just messing around with audio programs that I don't think it is going to be replicated. But I would say that the general sort of like resurgence of 2000s inspired music and 2000s inspired art is very much growing in popularity. While I do feel like, in terms of a general music scene, there are like uh, it's not exactly like something centralized around like the idea of, oh, let's make 2000s nostalgia sad. More so just people that came from that same sort of idea of that we have the ability to create whatever we want and post it. We'll just like go ahead and make stuff that's interesting. And as like a quick shout out, one of the labels that I feel sort of like embodies, quote unquote, internet music at the moment is Retract Recordings. They have put out a lot of cool stuff, including not only my own work, but also stuff from Paint Scratcher, Bagel Fan Club, James Ferraro, a, a lot of cool people.
Speaking on the label front, would you like to shout out people on the label?
I think I kind of just did,
Oh my,
but
oh, I mean
yeah,
like
it's totally cool.
I mean, sorry. Is there any? Sorry. Let me rephrase the question because that's not what I meant to ask. My bad. Is there anyone else on the label or in your? Hold up, my brain just short circuited. Hold up.
I am right there with you. You're fine.
Sorry. Is there anyone? Is there anyone else in the circle that you see, or anyone else in your community that you see making similar stuff to you, or anyone that you fuck with in who's doing something similar?
Oh yeah, there's totally a lot of different people that I really do enjoy their work, and we share some similar sensibilities. One of them is netbooks.world. They do this like really cool sort of like dark plunderphonic stuff that uh, they're probably like the best in their game at the moment when it comes to taking stuff from that era and actually not only making it like weird and interesting, but also their album Endless Staircase has like a really cool narrative attached to it, and the atmospheric world building that comes from it is really cool. And also there's Hypara on the more like optimistic Y2K drum and bass side of things. They do like a lot of really cool stuff in their work, and they recently put out a LimeWire themed like mashup album, which I recommend.
My God, LimeWire. I miss her. No, I don't. Wait, I might.
Soulseek is better.
Yeah, but we can't get in depth on that because they'll kill us. With the I do feel I do see the resurgence of Y2K stuff coming into fruition with the amount of I cannot escape looking at the back rooms or looking at people saying Frutiger Arrow or Frutiger Metro.
Exactly. Okay, if I could go on a semi short ramp,
Go.
uh, Frutiger Metro does not exist.
Let's go.
Yep, it okay, let's break down the term. So Metro regards the Windows 8 design scheme. That was not around when quote unquote Frutiger Metro was around. If the term Frutiger actually refers to the designer and the typeface, both of which were not a part of Frutiger Metro. It is a bad name for something that is actually kind of cool looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer the term super flat pop when describing that sort of like general like design language or art style.
I think that's a better name for it as well. I just gotta see these words on TikTok all the time and I'm like, I guess I know what these words mean now.
Yeah, it does kind of bum me out seeing stuff like Frutiger Arrow just being sort of like diluted to, oh, it's when you have a fish on your computer screen. When it really has, it really is more than that. Like, there's sort of like a strange, again, there is sort of like a strange oddness to like the amount of like utopianism and sort of like greenwashing surrounding stuff like Frutiger Arrow. And I really do feel like you could do stuff with that sort of like concept beyond just like, oh, that's a thing I remember.
Yeah. The corporate greenwashing of that era was kind of crazy, but
Oh yeah, absolutely.
it led to such interesting and creative design perspective that like, on one hand it feels really like evil, on the other hand it looks kind of cool though.
Yeah, I am pretty much in the exact same boat.
Because the big one I remember eternally is the Fiji water bottle, where getting that water was crazy, but everyone kind of want her. She kind of looks cool. She kind of looks sick as fuck.
Yeah, I remember the days when I would buy like Arizona green tea because it was cool in vaporwave.
It's still kind of cool in vaporwave,
It is still cool in vaporwave.
but it tastes pretty good.
Yeah, that's also a huge part of it. Maybe it's just because I like Arizona green tea. This is not sponsored.
I want them to sponsor me. Goddamn.
Yeah, I wish.
Dude, the Arizona black tea though has like kind of the coolest bottle, and also kind of is my favorite one.
Oh, I actually haven't had those.
Ooh, it's the one with like the black and white and like the green. It's like whoa.
Hmm.
My evil Arizona moment is I remember getting so scared when I saw Arizona cucumber and I was like, no, they changed the bottle, but it's just a different flavor.
Yeah.
And it tastes kind of weird to me. That is me. Uh, so vaporwave.
Yeah. What about it?
I don't know. I think we've gone through everything. C punk, my bad. Oh yeah, C punk. Um, fish on the computer screen kind of leads to the discussion of and the vibe of C punk when that came out because that was like pre vaporwave.
Yeah. That was one of like the many sort of like niche sort of like I'm pretty sure it was mainly centralized on Tumblr of just like people realizing that they can make things and make art on the internet about using the internet
Yeah,
and sort of as much as I yeah sort of really tried to not indulge in irony, there really was like a big ironic sort of sensibility when it came to C punk. I feel.
yeah. And I feel a lot of the irony that led from that like Punk had kind of bled its way into vaporwave, albeit
Yeah, but I
vaporwave.
feel like
Sorry.
yeah, Vaporwave sort of took what C punk was sort of making fun of, and it actually came for a lot of different artists. It came from like a sense of like very genuine intrigue and interest. I feel, which is probably one of the reasons why Vaporwave had like such a long-standing and lasting sort of like grip on things as opposed to like other genres.
Yeah, because a lot of the things with vaporwave that I remember feeling was I felt nostalgic like looking at vaporwave because obviously that was what it was invoking. But I was never alive for the 90s. Well, but no, I wasn't alive for the 90s. I wasn't conscious
Mhm.
for the 90s, but still looking at all of that is like this is an era that's gone and I still kind of miss it, but like I don't know why I miss it.
Yeah, I grew up in definitely not the wealthiest town, so it was weird growing up during a time period where there would just be like relics from the 80s and 90s just all around. And I have like very vivid childhood memories of like, visiting a dead mall or going to the library and there would be like a Windows 98 computer. And I really do feel like the very first wave of Vaporwave very much spoke to that sensibility.
Yeah, because I also had a similar experience, not specifically like that. A lot of the relics I had were from like the 90s, but it was something that wasn't as common. Like I had VHSs every once in a while, like as a very, very young child. Like I saw VHSs, I saw the aesthetics, I saw Windows 98 on like the school computers, and I knew it was gone. I knew this was like something that doesn't exist anymore because when I would go elsewhere, like all of this just didn't exist. So for me, it was always kind of like a mythology of a world I just missed, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah, that's something that I sort of realize in retrospect because one of like my earliest like autistic special interests was old Macintosh computers since I was always sort of like drawn to the computer at like a super old age. Not a super old age, super like early age. Yeah, I'm actually 100 by the way. So when I found out about like, how different computers used to be and just like the general history behind them when I was like 4 or 5, I just became like enamored to the point where as like a funny story in like kindergarten, we were like doing this fun little school project where we were chasing around the school for like trying to find the gingerbread man or something. And when we got to the library, there was a old Power Macintosh blue and white G3 tower, and I was way more interested in the computer than I was the gingerbread man as a 6-year old.
Was it like on?
No, it was just there, and I was like, "Holy crap! I've never seen one of these before." And yeah, that has gone on to into my adult life. Just that general sort of interest of not only preserving the past, but also analyzing it under a different context.
Yeah. It's
In short, I just think they're neat.
they are pretty neat. It's like really interesting to see all of this stuff because I'm assuming we're in the same age demographic because the way we're describing our past is kind of, you know.
Mhm.
Uh it's I feel like technology in specific has a stronger view of how much things have changed, especially like no, yeah, especially within like my lifespan. Because
Mhm.
like from a child age, I remember like a child age me seeing like Windows 95 and seeing like floppy disks and seeing all of that. I'm like, this is from a time before me. But like it's still not that long ago. But it still feels like forever ago. And like now if I
Mhm.
look at my old tower I had when I was like 10, no, when I was like 7 or 8, when I was like 7 years old or some shit with like Windows XP on it, that just feels like the world has like and that world has ended. And then I feel the same way about looking at my desktop from like 2020 like 13. It's like the world ended for its Windows this. We're in a completely different era. And now I feel like a new era happening now with all the Web3. But it feels kind of like how people say, oh, the it's like how people this is a bit dramatic, but it's like before the car and then after the car. Because I feel like there's before like Windows 10 and then after Windows 10. Windows 7 and
Yeah.
then after Windows 7.
Mhm. Yeah, I totally get what you mean by that. I really do feel like it is really interesting to just like gauge time throughout like things like that have progressed. Like I have an old iMac that has like got 10 gigabytes on its hard drive total. And then I have a just tiny little like micro SD card that's like 512 gigabytes. And oddly enough, if I had to choose between like the different eras of that sort of like thing, I would probably go with the more limited one because that's just what caters to what I like.
Yeah. I think a lot of the stuff from the past times, from like the before times, also like there was obviously like a lot more limitation with computing and there was a lot more limitations with our first I didn't have a hard drive. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh
I'm
my
so
god.
sorry for you.
Oh my god. But hardware limitations kind of like informed how things ended up being presented and how the design followed suit. And now we don't have as many limitations, so we can just kind of like do whatever. It's very interesting to see people recreating the limitations of past hardware and doing and seeing what
Yeah,
they can do with
absolutely.
that.
Like having those limitations requires you to just sort of like think outside of the box and be a bit more creative. And also, I feel like with those limitations, things just felt like generally less overbearing.
Yeah.
Like uh, time on the computer was separate than just like your general sort of like day to day life, pretty much.
Yeah. The interesting thing about like recreating these limitations is just like what you end up being well, like obviously it's good that now we can do more with computers and just like there's so many more resources available now. But it's also cool to see like how you can use the limitations and like still call back and still be respectful and all of that from back when the computer was special time.
Yeah,
When the
exactly.
computer was like we go to the family computer and it's like got its own room and it's like we go here instead of the computer is with you everywhere.
Hmm.
And like everyone wants to go back to not everyone, but a lot of people want to go back to those days where things were more optimistic, themes were more special, things looked the way they did because things were presented in such a manner. Now every website kind of looks the same. Back then it's like, oh, I'm on this website, it's like I'm on a planet,
Yeah.
and that planet is informed by HTML4.
Hmm. Yeah, totally. There really is something special about going to a website that's just like, its own single thing instead of just going to what a one platform for like everything.
Yeah,
And as much as I feel like there is the term, the convenience that we have once asked for has become mandatory.
yeah,
I really do feel like if you have the resources, you can sort of like bring back the quote unquote fun internet back as much as you can while still, using the more modern stuff so you can just, be in touch with people and not be completely off the grid.
yeah. I do think that the computer still has a lot of like fun in it. Like obviously there's fun to be had
Oh, yeah,
anywhere.
absolutely.
Like someone mentioned someone mentioned the Pico systems. I'm assuming they're talking about like the Pico game system, if you're aware of that.
Yeah, was it, isn't it that educational system that Sega put out?
Oh no, not that one. I think it's the Pico 8.
Oh, I'm going to look that up right now. That sounds
Uh
super familiar.
so the Pico 8 is like a fictional video game console VM engine create that's supposed to be for like a fictional console you can make stuff for. It's got its own like limitation and all that.
Oh, cool.
That's
Hmm.
like that's like a limitation thing that people have made to bring back. Well, this is more so the fun of creating games in like such a limited thing. For more of an internet thing, there's like NeoCities, which and like stuff like no, there's like NeoCities where people try to make their website like Y2K back web 1 type shit.
Yeah, a lot of my friends have like their own NeoCities pages, and I commend them for it.
Need to update mine. We had nothing like this live back then be able to experience physical. Yeah, but it's like now we have like new things. Like in my world, the exciting things are like everywhere. You just kind of like have to look for it because it's like harder and harder to find it without it becoming like we are on TikTok now.
There is a lot of things to get excited about. It really is just a matter of going out there and looking for it. And I feel like that applies to like most things in life. Like if you're in a town that just like there's nothing to do there, I can guarantee you like there's some like other like group of like queer people out there trying to like start a music scene or something, and you can probably be a part of it.
Yeah,
And I recommend that people do.
everyone go to hang out with gay people.
Exactly. Happy
The
Pride Month, everyone.
yay, I love gay people. um, yeah, there's like always gonna be something like very very cool. Like um, something I heard someone say one time was that the internet used to be like a location as opposed to people used to treat the internet like a place you went to as opposed to something that is just a part of your life.
I definitely agree with that.
Where like each of these websites was like a little world. Like if I go on what's the name of the oh fuck, I don't remember the name of it. It's like an old ass it's like an old ass website of this woman like cataloging crochet or some shit. And it was
Hmm.
like designed like maximalist and it's like I'm looking at this person's like world. I'm looking at what they did. They made a space. As opposed to when you go to let's say Twitter, slash a salad forest. It's like I'm on Twitter. It's just another Twitter page. The person just like kind of just
Yeah,
has
a
this.
large part of like the old internet was largely self-expression. And I really do feel like a large part of that is gone with the age of like algorithms and hashtags. Things have become like largely homogenized. Like things need to be given like a genre or label. Well, I feel like that sort of like undermines things personally.
Yeah, and especially now with the rise of stuff like TikTok, where the algorithm is kind of everything, and people are now putting a aesthetic to literally everything, or like a micro genre on literally everything. Which on one hand, it's like good because you can find what you're looking for. It's like, oh, I want something of a similar vibe. I want this. But on the other hand, you've kind of made yourself a target for marketers now because you have a tag that will be exploited one day.
Yeah, exactly.
But back in the before times, it was like hard to even put a name to this or to advertise to this because you would get stuff like Wendy's commercial saying eat like awesome sauce burger or whatever.
Yeah, eat spicy goodness like a boss. The classic.
Yeah. But because like no one knew what the fuck was going on, no one knew how to advertise to online. It was like put the Nyan Cat in there somewhere. Ever switching Facebook to MySpace was like I can't make stuff look cool. Okay, but like MySpace is like the big one as well. That was like the only time I believe in social media where it was like
Mhm.
a big moment to like make your page do whatever. Same was like old YouTube. Back when they let you do that.
Yeah, I remember when YouTube had like all these different customization features. Like you could have your own custom like font and your own custom background, stuff like
Yeah.
that. A large part of the internet regarding self-expression, I really do feel like that has been sort of unfortunately lost
Yeah.
with everything just becoming more streamlined. It might look a bit nicer and a bit more clean, but I also just really want to, like, I don't know, create some eye strain once in a while.
Yeah. And there's obviously going to be the websites that will harken back to the internet so you can like still do that, but they're not as big as they are. Stuff like Space
Yeah.
Hey for like old MySpace, I believe.
hmm
And
I feel like
I
as much as I love their effort in trying to put stuff together, it's never really going to fully be the same because a lot of like the retro revival projects are more so like under the main idea of hey, remember this instead of just being sort of, you know, the original intention of whatever they are trying to replicate.
yeah, but that's what I find so appealing about something like NeoCities, where it is just a
Yeah,
platform for you to do whatever the fuck.
it is literally GeoCities again.
Yeah, and the fact that it encourages, like, it is the only like quote unquote platform that encourages you to, you know, do it yourself, like you fucking do it, make it your own website.
Yeah,
Whereas like something like Space Hay, or I don't remember what the YouTube one is because the YouTube like Y2K style one, because the only can think of got overran by the most racist people on earth. Hold up. But that
yeah, there
website,
was like a few different like YouTube revivals that just completely crashed and burned, unfortunately.
yeah, I uh homogenization of the internet is crazy. But
Yeah.
I will always love anything that encourages people to make their own shit, which is why NeoCity is really interesting to me, which is, and like stuff like game jams or just what a bunch of like indie developers are doing, because it's just like I'm making my own game now.
hmm
Or even like streaming, because you see a lot of weird people do a lot of weird shit on this platform. There's like a lot of people who are just kind of like, a lot of people on the platform I think are just like go live Xbox, where they click go live on their Xbox and just game. And then there's like a bunch of VTubers doing like weird shit in their platform, or someone making like weird technology and showing it off, or just like, platforming what they're up to, making their own shit. It's always like so cool to see people just like make their own shit, whether it's on Twitch or a YouTube video. But it's
I
it's
really
nice.
do feel like uh, it's important to do that to now more than ever with how things are just currently being like put into just little boxes and little like genre tags. It really is important to try to express your own sensibilities as much as you can and just make outwardly like interesting and weird art as because you are going to be like the only person that is able to put these ideas out in the world.
Yeah,
And it's best not to just sort of like worry about how will it be perceived. It's more so just having it be out there because somewhere someone is going to just probably realize that they are a little less alone.
yeah. I think that's the most important thing about creating art, and especially now, especially as you said, especially now, it's like very very important. I feel the importance is growing bigger and bigger every day as we get more AI slop kind of taking over.
Yeah, exactly.
And you just have to like be yourself. Just be yourself.
Mm.
No one else is gonna make it. You just like it's like you were saying, like no one else is gonna make it. You're the only person who has the design sensibilities and the ideas in your head, and you have to get them out there. It doesn't it If it's just one person that connects with your stuff, that's a huge massive accomplishment. And even if no one does, it's still something you did for yourself. It's like a record of you. It's like something that is just like accomplishment. I did this for me. I don't care if it's for anyone else. It's important to be out there. It's always important to put yourself out there, even if it
Yeah,
kind of sucks sometimes.
yeah, it would kind of be hard to imagine like a scene. I guess you could call it scene a scene, but something like YouTube poop happening nowadays, where it was actively, something that was pretty much like an internet version of graffiti. And I feel like that's the sort of like thing that we currently need at the moment. Just like being unapologetically just out there.
Yeah, we love online. We love making things. We love computer. Type one if you love computer. I do wonder if there's ever going to be another website that is fully customizable that doesn't get fucked over like every Y2K YouTube thing. Because
Mhm.
I would love to see just a platform like NeoCities pop the fuck off.
Yeah, I really do feel like more people have been talking about cities like more than ever. I really do feel like uh, since people really do miss that feeling of when the internet was fun and just sort of like new, that people are more inclined to take these sort of like alternative options in order to have their presence be up there.
Yeah. And there's like so many ways to get your presence out there now, and there's so many resources. So like everyone can make like weird ass art now. There's
Mhm.
so many ways you can do it. Like everyone just hop on Blender, type in like a Blender tutorial, and then you just like, oh, here's my story about, I don't know, eating concrete. Like you don't even need a supercomputer. You can just get like some random fuck ass computer you got out of a school that's like going out of business. Schools don't go out of business. Wait, get a pencil. Just go. So we should probably.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, you can go ahead.
Oh no, you go. You go. You go.
I basically have nothing to say at the moment.
My concrete eating story. Well, if you want to make your concrete eating story, you gotta write it down. Gotta go.
Yeah, exactly. If you have any sort of ideas that come through your head, it really is important to try and make a note of it, because usually how the creative process works for me is it'll just be like a bunch of very loose ideas, and then all of a sudden in the process of putting everything together, those ideas will actually like be put together into like a fuller image pretty much.
Yeah.
So even if it seems just like very small and minute at the moment, it will actually like come through and be like a part of a larger thing that almost feels like, yeah, this is what it was always meant to be.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that video of David Lynch saying every time you should have a notebook or something to write your ideas in as soon as you have them, because if you don't have that, you're gonna want to fucking die.
Yeah, I that is very true.
I think
And I miss David Lynch every day.
I do too. Shout out David Lynch. I'm like one of the realest people ever.
Yeah.
I think his like wording was write these ideas down or else you'll want to kill yourself. So I have a Google Doc that's just called ideas so I don't kill myself. And it's like 2 pages long. It's just like a bunch of like one word things. It's also split between my notes app.
Yeah.
Because it's like
Usually,
sorry.
uh, I'll just open in my notes app on my phone and just write down everything I have, even how like small it might be. And it's usually stuff that will only make sense to me in like this context. Like I'll type in the name of an audio plugin and then type in do this, like set 4-bar loop to beat breaker or something like that. Just so when I get back to my work desk, I can go back to those notes and actually try out those ideas.
Yeah.
And even though that they're just like very small quips, like uh, change to +7 semitones or something like that.
Yeah. It's it's like very easy to forget things. Even if you have like the best memory, unless you're like a photographic memory Andy, you're going to not remember every idea
Yeah.
you have like directly. So just like write it down, even if it doesn't feel like anything.
Hmm.
Because it's
Yeah.
better to have it documented, and if you have it documented, and even if you do have photographic memory, still write it down, because if you have your ideas next to other ideas, you can connect the dots.
Yeah, being autistic and ADHD leads to me having just like the absolute worst memory imaginable. So, what whenever I am like really in the mood to like make some art or make some music, I try to make a note of like whatever interesting I might want to put in, whether it be like a YouTube playlist for sampling or just like writing down some notes on whatever I might feel would be interesting to work on.
Yeah, it's uh wow. uh, I've had like many situations where I completely forget an idea, and I'm like, oh, where then I look at my document and I'm like, wait, I have a new idea because I looked at this idea again, and it's like next to this one.
Yeah, it's all very much sort of like a flowing feeling where even a yeah, you might be dead set on one particular idea and like this is the one, this is what I should be working on. But then that idea will just slowly evolve into a different idea, and then they'll evolve into another idea, and then it'll just continue progressing until you reach this like final product that goes from like an initial feeling to an idea to another idea to something that you probably didn't even consider the first time around that you were working on something, but you feel really proud of
Yeah.
in that sense.
For me, one of the most important things in my personal creative process is adaptability, where is one of the most important things in my creative process is adaptability, where I see an idea and I like part of me wants to keep that idea like fully intact and not stray from it, but then it's like if I do that, I'm going to kind of pigeonhole myself and I'm going to lose all of the other things that could add to this. Even if it means changing it, even if it means like killing a little bit of it, there's always like something new to come of it.
Right. There's always the room for improvement or some sort of like room for something new to come along. And that's uh, just how things work. Things just evolve over time.
Yeah. And that's just something to always keep an eye out for.
Yeah, ideas can pretty much come from like anywhere in any place. And that's honestly kind of annoying because there has been so many times where I wish I was at my work desk, but I am just like miles away on a walk somewhere. And I just really wish I could like rush back home and get this down.
Yeah.
But when it actually comes to putting the ideas onto like paper or like getting out the like keyboard, it's that initial feeling is mainly just a memory and just a centralized sort of thought at that point.
Yeah. And like the ultimate goal with like a lot of this is to keep the idea from becoming just a memory.
Yeah, if you have a particular feeling that you feel is inspiring, it really is best to just hold on to whatever you may be feeling or attach that feeling to a certain memory or whatever sort of thought that you might be thinking at the moment. So it makes it easier to revisit.
Yeah. And for me, the best way I've got into not to keep ideas, even if I'm like far and unable to work, is just write it down and do a little sketch and be like, okay, this is probably the vibe. And it's worked twice, which is better than 0 times.
Yeah, like it's best to not rush yourself and just sort of like, you know, make something for the sake of making something.
Yeah.
It it really is important to make something because you want to make something, not to simply just put out content into the world.
Yeah. And I think you can tell a lot of the time I feel like you can tell when someone made something either as a labor of love or as a I need money. Not even as I need money. I just like I need to like I need to make something. Like I just need to make it.
Mhm.
Like obviously there's a lot of different things and obviously sometimes you just need money and sometimes you when you're like I need money. The vibe is kinda you make something crazy. But most of the time it's like if your heart's in it, it shows. Even if it like kinda sucks, it shows.
Mhm.
And like I'm not here to say like it sucks, but like you know I'm gonna say that like my first like art, my like old art, my old streams, like I'm okay saying they kind of suck because I've made such strides and progress in like what I do.
Mhm.
Where
But it's
like
also whenever you are an artist and you are continually making stuff over time, you're always going to sort of like look at your older work as uh, just like almost if it was made by like a different person.
Yeah,
But also, even though you can be like, yeah, my current work is much better, it'll there will always be like some sort of like weird fondness or appreciation or sort of like weird charm to what those like very first pieces of whatever you may be making, whether it to be music or video game or whatever. It'll still harken back to when you first got around to making stuff,
yeah,
and that just makes it a bit more special.
yeah. And like I've always described from the thing is if you want to make like the greatest thing ever, you have to not. I feel like the greatest thing ever for you, you have to like start somewhere, and where you start, it's not going to be professional. It's going to be messy. It's going to I should say it's going to suck a little bit, but that's not bad. And even in
Yeah.
that, that's like an important step, and that is a vibe. Like
Hmm.
you can't. No one starts as like Michelangelo. Everyone starts as like a baby.
Yeah.
And the baby charm is an incredible thing. I think it was Picasso who said it took him like 8 years, like 10 years to learn how to draw like a child because
Yeah.
it's impossible to it's impossible to kind of get that vibe unless you're like specifically going for it. But even when you do
Mhm.
that, like when you have the vibe nailed down, the aimlessness and the confusion and the figuring it out part of it that was so easily present in the work goes away. And it's not a bad thing. It's just a different thing.
Mhm.
And I always see it as like I do see it as this was made by a different person because I do genuinely think that a lot of the old stuff I did specifically was straight up just made by a different person because I'm not that person anymore. I have multiple years on me. I've experienced so much more, and I know I'll still be able. I'm still like that person in some way, but that person isn't me. If that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Like what you put out was still like a part of you, but it's just a certain snapshot of who you were at that time.
Yeah.
And even if you're like the only person that really uh, like enjoys that work or uh, knows that it exists, at least it means something to you at that moment.
Yeah. Like the way I see it is always like they are me, I'm not them.
Hmm.
And it's important. A thing like for me streaming, a big thing is being bad on camera of the thing that I'm trying to do because I that's an important step in the process. And a lot of people are afraid to start because they don't want to be embarrassed. And I'm like I've like entered the phase where it's like I don't care, man. Fuck me up.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you
I
like
never really
sorry.
experienced stuff like I never really experienced stuff like stage fright, for example. I've always uh, was fine with sort of like making a public embarrassment of myself. But uh, I will say embarrassment in that regard is mainly just only in past tense. At the moment when you're just starting out, things just feel like cool and new.
Yeah.
And if you feel embarrassed by your past work, then that's just a good sign that you are currently just moving on and creating better stuff.
Yeah. If you can like see how far you've come and be a little embarrassed at like where you started, then like that is a sign that you have come a long way.
Yeah.
Like no matter what it is, whether it's like methy code or like methy drawings or a song that had the worst beat ever,
Hmm.
you can now make the best beat ever.
Yeah. You have now learned more about the rules of how things work, and that way you can actually know how to break them.
Yeah. You have to learn. You have to learn. Learning isn't pretty. learning hurts sometimes. It like hurts your brain, but if you go, you go. Like I think a big one for me, like for me, when I think of like learning kind of hurt, but it's like, oh, I see now. Is like when I was learning math, it's like, it, I hate this. Oh, I hate this because I can see
Hmm.
how wrong I am. But then I like got better, and I'm like, wait, I see now. Wait, it kind of goes.
Yeah, everything is sort of like that. You really just need to be, oh no, patient and kind to yourself is a huge part of it.
Yeah, no one's gonna kill you for like being bad at like drawing perspective.
Hmm.
Yep, and you just keep practicing. This is to everyone in the audience. This is to everyone in the audience. Uh, just do shit. Just like go. Just go. You're not gonna make it. No one's gonna make fun of you. No one's gonna attack you with hammers because you wrote yandere dev like type code. What
Yeah.
the like if equals 2, if equals 3, if equals 4. No one's gonna kill you for this.
Hmm.
The worst that happened is someone's gonna like say like what, and it's probably gonna be like one of your friends. And then you learn, and then you
Yeah,
don't do it
exactly.
again. They're not gonna kill you.
Hmm. Yeah, the best advice that I can pretty much give to anyone is to just go ahead and put stuff out there. And even if it's for themselves, at least that's just like one person that can get something out of like what you're putting out.
Yeah. And you can also learn from your mistakes, and other people can also learn from your mistakes, so that you can learn from other people's mistakes. All communal.
If push comes to shove, if you're in the right crowd, some people will think that all the mistakes that you made were intentional
Yeah.
and like weird experimental stuff.
And that's the crowd we all love. But
Yep.
speaking of starting places and making stuff, how did you get started in making songs and albums? Music.
Well, I've always played around on like programs like GarageBand growing up, and I've always really wanted to like make my own album or like be a part of like my own band. And it was around 2015 when I started doing sample based sort of vaporwave type stuff. And I mainly just burnt some CDRs of these tracks I made and gave them to some friends of mine. And I kept on just sort of like making those albums as just as like a fun pastime or a hobby. And then I sort of like gained the confidence to start uploading the music that I made over to Bandcamp. And after that, I sort of just became much more involved with the general online music community. And I felt like really, really accomplished during that time, especially when you're like someone in high school, just like this like weird kid, and you have a cassette tape of music being put out by someone. Like I remember when that first happened, and I just felt like super, super excited. I felt like I won vaporwave, pretty much. Just the idea that uh, I was doing something that I thought was interesting, but other people also really thought it was like weird and interesting as well. It just was like a good sign that I should keep going.
And how would you rate keeping going?
Well, just whenever I feel like I have no other choice in this matter. I've always been like a super, super creative person when it came to like, just like drawing or doing whatever projects to mainly keep my mind occupied. but now I have the privilege of actually putting stuff out there, and someone else will just kind of resonate with it, which is pretty much the best thing that I could really ask for. And that's mainly, I wouldn't say that's the main thing that keeps me going, but it's a large part of why I've decided to, put my stuff out there.
Yeah. It's like always it's always like a special feeling to know that like what you did impacted someone. Because I remember the first time I like I made something and someone like
Mhm.
said that, oh, this connected with me, this is something I still think about. It I never experienced that before, and it gave me like a feeling that made me go, I need to do this more. Because
Yeah,
for the longest time I like my have anxiety problem, and it's like, oh, I don't think I could ever have an impact on anyone type of shit. And then I did. I was like, wait, my brain is wrong. Art is crazy. I can do this? Wait, I can do this. And then I did it. Like, wait, hold up. That whole thing.
yeah,
I'm very happy that you're also sharing the if it connects then it connects. Because that is something I very, very much also hold dear.
definitely. It's mainly just, growing up in sort of like a small town and being one of like the very few people interested in sort of like avant-garde music and stuff like that, and also being like very openly autistic and neurodivergent. I was always sort of like generally an odd one out, and basically I wanted to make stuff that was personal to my own experience living uh, through like my own childhood and just my own day-to-day feelings regarding things. So when I put my first few like releases out, based on themes of just loneliness and nostalgia, and other people were like in the same boat, I felt like I did something special. And I know I'm just not like the only one that was doing that type of thing, but I realized that I was doing something that uh, only I could have done, which is pretty much like I've repeated it again and again throughout the interview, but that's mainly my main thing that keeps me going, is that if no one else is going to make this thing and I want it to exist, then I should be the one to put it out there.
Personal
Yeah,
experience. Personal experiences shaping the art we make is something that I always have going on. It's something that I feel is inevitable, especially hold on. Let me rephrase this into a more coherent sentence.
you're good.
um how do you think that your personal experiences have shaped your production, your the way you produce music and what you want to make?
Well, not only from like a sampling front, I mainly try to go towards like things I have like my own personal attachments to, like things that I remember that I haven't really seen other people sort of like referenced in other different types of media. And there have been times where I've like sampled my own like home recordings I've made it while I was growing up. But I will say the main sort of thing that draws me to like the way that I create things is growing up around a household that had high speed internet and a few computers around. and growing up around that gave me like this weird advantage where I could just like press buttons and mess around with applications and see what they did. And really, that is the main thing that helps me. That's pretty much what I do in my DAW all day is just pressing buttons and seeing what they do. And that's what I, yeah, just kind of do for an hour until I get a result that I'm happy with.
What is oh how do you feel your inspirations and goals with music have changed since you started?
Would say that a lot of the goals that I had, like in past tense, I feel like I've met a lot of them. Like having an album of mine being released on a physical format, or you know, being able to call people that have inspired me to like create music, and a lot of the stuff I listen to, being able to like call them my contemporaries. I feel like my main goal now is to just make something that uh, as uh, simple as it may be, it's just making stuff that sounds good.
Have there been any musician or events that have changed the way you approach your production or your form?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Here in Billings, there is or at least there was like a big sort of like community of noise music, and just like a lot of sort of like super out there sort of performance art. And that sort of broadened my horizons in that you can make something that is objectively, quote unquote, like wrong or not music or not art. And it can still be interesting and perceived as something profound. And pretty much whatever you put into art, like the thought that you put into it, is what you get out of it. And there's a lot of different artists that have really taught me that over the years. Like, uh, just off the top of my head, there's the French house artist Mr. Oizo, which has like a bunch of wrong notes in his music and all that. But still, the songs are just like absolutely great. And other than that, just being in like a live setting from whenever I do go to like live vaporwave events, and people seeing seeing people like dance to this sort of like slowed down, whacked out music, it really is like a great reminder that um it's I need to get my words together. Just that yeah, this stuff is good actually, and there is sort of like an audience for it, and it's not just like a very small sort of like niche thing. It's something that a lot of people actually do enjoy, and a lot of people continues to sort of like bond over.
Yeah. If there's no, a lot of the times I see people say that I do believe this, is if you don't see an audience, if the audience doesn't exist, you can always just like you can always just kind of will it into existence. You can make the audience by making the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like people don't know that like this exists, and then when they know this exists, they're gonna be like, wait, hold up,
Mhm.
and then you
Yeah, I
create something
mean,
new.
if you like something, then there is like the probability of someone else might have that same sort of like experience or could relate to it.
Yeah,
So if yeah, it really is again just a matter of willing it into existence.
yeah, and then You become the biggest streamer on, not the biggest musician on Spotify. You become Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift one day thought, I am going to become Taylor Swift. And the rest was history.
Clueless. Like the is there any specific song that has not song, but is there any specific song or musician that has resonated with you recently or something like that?
As of recent, there has been like a lot of different artists that have like influenced me over the years, but at the moment, I've really been enjoying listening to Vectroid as always, all of her stuff, her aliases. I really enjoy the work of Tires Tires and Friends and as well. I've really been on like a big sort of like chill wave and glitch hop kick as of late because that's sort of like the type of stuff that I want to sort of make with this next album whenever it's out. Just, but yeah, I'm actually gonna go into my iTunes and see what else I've been listening to at the moment because I have an iPod which I just fill up with music, and usually whenever I hear something, I'll basically subconsciously sample it in my brain, and it'll like influence whatever I may be working on at that time.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Back.
Other than that, there are like obvious ones like Aphex Twin, uh, Boards of Canada, Square Pusher, and all the vaporwave people like Death's Dynamic Shroud, Christ. Mhm.
They're all Warp Records.
Yeah.
I've been listening to so much broadcast recently.
Yeah, broadcast is so good.
I love broadcast and New Stereo Lab.
I really need to listen to the new Stereo Lab. I've heard a lot of good things about it, and it's really cool that they released something new after like such a long time. Like I don't think it's gonna like beat dots and loops. It's still gonna be like a really fun listen from what
Yeah,
I've heard.
it's like a really good return to form, especially like it sounds closer to like their later '90s stuff than the stuff they released before they went on hiatus.
Hmm.
I really like it. Like Aerial Troubles or Melody of the Wound. Like those are crazy songs. Ignore the Aerial Troubles music video. We don't pretend that's not real.
Yeah, did not happen. Figment
Not
of your imagination.
music video that historically does not exist.
Yeah, that exists in the Berenstein universe, unfortunately.
How we were talking about iPods like a little bit earlier. I do wonder on your take on. I've had people. I've seen. Blah, 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 blah. I read the take that we used to have like a problem of having technology that only does one thing. Now we have a problem of technology that does everything.
Yeah, I just like small gadgets. It's pretty much my main sort of motive behind that.
Yeah,
I would run around with an old digicam growing up and doing like photography, and I've always like really wanted like an iPod for like listening to music. So really, it's just like me living out those dreams by carrying stuff like those around. Like, yeah, I could listen to it on my phone, but I also just love the experience of messing around with these like small devices
yeah.
is a huge part of it.
It's also like having a device that does one thing. Kind of, if I want to do this one thing, I have this one thing here, and I won't get distracted by 50 billion different things. Also, there's no wheel on iPhone.
Yeah, as I do kind of miss the click wheel. It's just sort of like fun to mess around with again.
Yeah. It's like fun to play with toys. Maybe that's just like I have the brain where it's like I need to play with something or else I feel like I'm losing it. Because like I'm not gonna lie, during the interview, playing with like the charms I got, just like playing with them in my hand,
Mhm.
feeling them. Because if I don't do that, I
Oh
start
yeah,
shaking.
I have a bunch of like trinkets on my desk that I've been just sort of like fiddling around with as well.
Hold on, I need to like talk about this real quick because I like just got these charms like pre-interview. Dude, these charms kind of suck.
Oh damn.
And it's like a sticker facing like the acrylic. I can like feel the sticker. I can peel it off.
Ah crap.
Oh, I might just give these away. I don't want to sell these. I have 10 of them. Oh god, I mean, I did get the. Oh my god, wait, I haven't found anywhere to get good like acrylic charms. Oh my god. Anyway, we're talking about Apple devices. What we're talking about Apple devices a lot recently. Do you think that
Mhm.
the design that that company has is kind of banger?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I remember.
I
Sorry.
yeah, I definitely feel like it has sort of like gone down in recent years, but I do have like a very strong appreciation for how just like unique and natural everything feels. Like you could just take a computer from 20 years ago, put it in front of someone, and they'll know how to use it pretty much like instantly, which is something that I can't really say for like stuff made around today.
Yeah, because now everything like more. Oh, I think a lot of the thing is people are trying to make it more user friendly, but in doing so, you kind of remove a lot of like functionality. Windows 11, Windows 11, Windows 11. Anyway, who said that?
Yeah,
Must have been the wind.
yeah, you lose a lot of that freedom.
And a lot of it's in the name for simplicity, and also in that simplicity, kind of have a bunch of like random ads. Like Disney Magic comes pre-installed on Windows 11, and Candy
Yeah, just
Crush.
so much bloatware.
I need to go on Linux.
hmm I've
Because
heard it's a nice place over in Penguin Land.
yeah, I don't know how to use it.
Terminal is big, but if you know how to like code, then it should be like pretty like oh yeah, I can type that.
Yeah, I've like seen the take before of computer used to be like you had to know how to use it. Granted, not like a power, not like a Linux like type user, but like you had to know how to use it, and then things became a lot more simple. And then it just kind of became harder. And things becoming more simple, it became harder to use the computer.
Yeah, like there's so much stuff on my current desktop that I just do not use at all.
Yeah,
Like I pretty much use uh, my computer the same way that I would have used a computer like years and years ago,
yeah,
just using it for the same sort of things. But this one can actually load a website properly.
yeah. It went from like, oh, I go here to go to my special to the special online place and talk to my friends in our little online circle. It's different, and now it's the oh yeah, it's work. I had to clock into Twitter, clock into
Yeah,
Discord.
exactly. Something that has caused like a fair amount of anxiety is just like my general sort of like online life and persona is sort of like bleeding into like my real sort of like personal life. And
Yeah,
that's the main reason why I sort of like I have myself as Agnar online and wear a Mac on top of my head to just sort of like keep those two sorts of different like lives that I'm currently living. Uh, kind of like have a small barrier between them, sort of like an alter ego, pretty much.
yeah,
Because the way that our own personal lives are being sort of like commodified, and in the way that people are sort of like focused on basically farming social capital online has been really it. I found it disturbing.
Yeah. That's for me, that like thought process is also kind of like why VTubing appeals so much to me, because like the character is in my physical face. The person I am is in outside of here is a
Mhm.
different. It's completely different. Like you don't.
Yeah, it's important to have a life outside of the internet. As much as it continues to just sort of like insert itself into like every part of our daily life, like, oh, you got a new light bulb, you have to make a new account and sign up with your email.
Yeah, and like
It's important to like keep that different distinction.
yeah, because a way I've seen it, a way I've like described it before and have had it described to me before, is online you get to be like whatever you want to be, and in person you can't do that. And I remember seeing the thing that like the most, at least this is true for me, where the most true version of me is like the version on the computer, because I can be a cartoon dog and I can't be a cartoon dog in real life.
Mhm.
And I feel more, it feels more like a true version of myself than the limitations of like physical world.
Yeah,
But also I
oddly,
need to keep physical world and like online world separate. Partly for a lot of it is for like reason of be safe on the computer.
yeah, but there is something to be said, whether it be like presenting yourself as a cartoon dog or presenting yourself as a computer. There's a certain like honesty and sincereness behind it. Besides, so it is like a mask, but it's sort of like a mask of how you perceive yourself personally.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because the only limitation is your brain. Like a cartoon dog don't get disease. Cartoon dog don't get like 5 million malaise, or like can be anywhere. Doesn't have to be in like fuck out to nowhere. I don't live in fuck out of nowhere, but you know, I don't have to. Cartoon dog doesn't have to live in LA. Cartoon dog can live in fucking like the future or on
Yeah,
the
exactly.
moon.
I live in the year 2007 permanently, unfortunately.
Ooh, I have a friend who lives.
Actually, not that bad.
I have a friend who permanently lives in 2006.
Oh, I'm always one step ahead, unfortunately.
That'll happen. I wonder if she's here.
Yeah, the sort of like lore that I have for Agnar, the character, is sort of inspired by, Deltron 3030, if you
Let's
know that
fucking
album.
go.
Yeah, it's such a good album. Just the idea of like this person made out of old computer parts from the far off futuristic year of 2007 here to save the world. That's something that I really want to expand on later in some other projects.
Back when well, I had like a moment. I remember having a moment when I was a teenager, because I remember playing Eighth Attorney as a child, and it was like, oh, this takes place in. I don't know how much you know about Eighth Attorney.
Oh, my brother was a huge Ace Attorney fan, so I know some parts of it.
Okay, so the first game I think takes place in like 2016. Is supposed to be like near future stuff.
Mhm.
And I remember playing that in like 2013 and being like, oh, this takes place in the future. And then like 2016 came and I was like, wait, Eighth Attorney is happening right now.
Yeah, it's the same with stuff like Evangelion, Akira, uh, Blade Runner. It's always like really, really funny looking back on that. Just being like, wow, I survived that. That actually happened.
Yeah. Yeah, although the one in Eighth Attorney is just like I survived someone getting shot in the lake in like some fuck ass nowhere place that's like supposed to be LA but it's Japan.
Yeah.
I survived that guy getting shot across the ocean.
Mhm.
But there's always something like really cool about seeing stuff that's like near future stuff, especially stuff from the 90s, because and like the early 2000s, because technology was moving at such an exponential rate where you could very feasibly imagine fucking total VR in 2020, and instead we got
Mhm.
like kind of VR, because it's like shows how much optimism for the future there is. And honestly, there still is right now, because there's stuff being written about like 2050, and we're gonna get there soon.
Yep. The
And
internet still can be a fun place. You really just have to look for the fun parts. And the boring parts, they'll go by the wayside.
yeah,
It's best to just take control of your own presence.
yeah, become optimistic. The future is out there.
Yeah, that's sort of like what I enjoy of bringing back these sort of like old sensibilities, not just to like make fun of them, but or just say, yeah, this was supposed to happen, but uh, also to bring back some of that sort of like optimism and just sort of like general idea that you know what, maybe things can be okay.
Yeah, there's like obviously looking back on things that try to predict the future or say like, oh, this is what things are gonna be like there's obviously gonna be like a little, it's gonna be a little like silly, and you can like poke fun at it, but the heart is there of a better future, and there's always been like the heart of people wanting a better future. And that's like
Yeah.
honestly one of the most like one of the most inspiring thing about the greenwashing corporate bullshit, where like, yeah, I
Mhm.
understand, like I understand all of this is to sell me on shit, and it's like cynical and terrible, but also like if I
Mhm.
like look at it in the correct angle, then like there is an optimism here that was a
Yeah, there
cultural
are
optimism.
completely different motives, but yeah, there is something there that can speak to someone, and something there that sort of like, I don't know, can serve as a reminder that a better world is possible.
Yeah. Especially now, it's good to look at that type of thing, because there has been a bit of a, well, not even now. It's there's a chronic issue of people being a bit irony poisoned and not, and like,
Mhm.
it's easy to fall into the pit of becoming filled with irony and cynicism, where being
Yeah.
optimistic is like hard.
Mhm. I really do feel like a large part of it is mainly just sort of like a defense mechanism, since a lot of people are just sort of like scared
Oh, of course.
to just sort of like be out there and be vulnerable. So you can't ever really just, like something. You have to have like an ironic appreciation of it.
Yeah, because it's easier to, it's the hardest thing for a lot of people is to be vulnerable, and
Mhm.
there's like, it's like insanely hard to do that even in your private life, let alone in a public setting. Like I think
Yeah.
these interviews I do are like, who are like a little bit of me showing my vulnerability and other people showing a bit of vulnerability, because because sincerity is like important. Like
Exactly.
like it's important to remember that like you can feel things, you can like things, you can dislike things, even if it just, and you don't have to like make a whole thing about it. Like I don't care if I like things that are cringe, that I like
Mhm.
it. I listen my it's my weird thing. I chose, it's my Xbox. I get to choose the game. I get to choose fucking Zapper One Wicked Cricket. It's cringe. I don't care. It's bad. I know it's bad. I like it at least. But it's always good to like remind yourself and remind other people that just be yourself. It's okay. Like it's
Mhm.
completely okay. It's okay to have discussions that feel kind of weird. It's okay to feel weird. It's okay to feel weird.
That is another like really really big point. It's okay to be weird and it's okay to feel weird.
Yeah.
One thing that I never really got was, you know, consuming media ironically. Like if you enjoy something that's like so bad it's good, or like a really cheap like get sci-fi B horror movie, then you enjoyed it. You put time out of your day to watch it, then it actually did like a good job at what it was trying to do.
Yeah.
Or, just like listening to music ironically. Like, oh, I'm gonna like put all of my energy into listening to something. Yeah, yeah, I just don't really get that line of thinking.
I think that's just a. I agree with I agree like wholeheartedly. Where I don't think the enjoyment is ironic. I think you just enjoy it and you're trying not to, and you're like embarrassed to admit it.
Yeah.
Where like I used to fall into the trap where I was like, oh, I like this ironically. It's not good, but I like it. And it's like, but it's also like but also, it's like I like it. It's not good. That doesn't have to be an ironic thing. It's just I like the thing that I see a lot of fault in. That is a bit of a problem that failed at
Hmm.
what it's trying to do. But in failing in what it's trying to do, it became very successful in doing something else, which a lot of people end up connecting with, like The Room. Like it tried to be like a dramatic whole ass thing, but it became like a means for connection for a lot of people because of how even if it failed that job, it achieved one of the best jobs that a piece of art can do and just like bring a lot of people together.
Hmm.
And like, yeah, it sucks if your thing is not interpreted the way you want it to be, and yeah, it sucks if you like try something and like it becomes kind of like a joke, but like there's still something there. Like people are still enjoying it.
Hmm. People are still talking about it, which when it comes to like a lot of things that are put out with commercial intentions, not a lot of people like really think about it to that often as they do with something like The Room or Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I like a lot of music that people say is bad. I like music that people say is bad. I like music that people say is like cringe. I don't care. I don't care if it's cringe.
Mhm.
I don't care if it's bad. I like it. It's enjoyable to me, whether or not it's silly and weird. Like fucking if you ever tap into the stream on like 11 p.m., I'm always playing fucking Jenna Rose My Jeans because that song's a fucking banger. Or like fucking like even like Rebecca Black Friday, like everyone was like this is an ironic thing, but it's also like
Mhm.
everyone kind of liked it.
Yeah, I have never been to a place where they've there has actually been like multiple occasions where I've been in public and Friday by Rebecca Black was playing, and no one was having a bad time
Yeah,
with that
like
happening.
yeah, we know the song's awkward and weird and like kind of not well made, but it's also kind of like beautiful.
Hmm.
Like it is beautiful how everyone is having a time, and I'm happy. And like obviously, people take it too far. People are like, "Time." It's like harassment, harassment. Like, don't do that. Be normal. But like besides that, I have nothing but fond memories of like that song being played.
Hmm.
And like people say it's like an ironic thing. It's like I don't think it's ironic. I just think I have a good memory of this. I think I just like it. And if I don't like
Yeah,
something, it's like whatever.
exactly. There's a lot of art where put into like a different context or put into the right context, it can be given like a completely new meaning and suddenly become profound. And
Yeah.
I feel like that was one thing that really put the vaporwave into gear is all these people sort of like digging up old music that was, intended to be sonic wallpaper, and people actually going back to it and making it like the forefront of the piece. And it actually led to people finding a newfound enjoyment for like this weird type of background production music.
Yeah. A big one for me thinking on this is, do you remember the Mallsoft era?
Oh, I remember Mallsoft.
So I think it's called Yes Groceries.
Oh yeah, Groceries is a amazing album. Yes, we're open.
Yes,
That's
or
probably like the Mallsoft album for me.
same. I remember listening to that album and I didn't get it at first, and I listened to it again because I was like, I need to listen to something. And there is a feeling that album creates that makes it feel, I don't know, it's like a beautiful feeling to like listen to that. Whereas if
Mhm.
I listen to a lot of things that was pulling from like in isolation or in like their context, it's like I don't really care. But that album put it all together in a way that's like, oh, I'm getting emotional.
Mhm. It's all about sort of almost the storytelling and just the general uh, like atmosphere and set dressing that can really put something like a project like that into that sort of like weird state.
Yeah. And another thing of recontextualization, and a more extreme example of that is just plunderphonics in general.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like I can't think of any plunderphonics off the top of my head.
Uh, I I can think of a few. There's Since I Left You
Yeah, there
by
we go.
Avalanches. That's a really good one.
Doopy time.
Mhm.
I think of Doopy
There's
time.
there's Negative Land stuff. There's of course there's John Oswald.
Yeah. But
It's one pet peeve that I have is uh, there's a lot of releases being tagged as plunderphonics that are mainly just like slowed down music.
yeah.
And as someone that is guilty of, just slowing down some old music and calling it a day on from time to time, the like context of the work isn't really like adding something to the work. It is mainly just the work. And I feel like that goes against the idea of what plunderphonics should be, which is basically using like found material and plundering, musical sources and turning it into an instrument of itself.
Yeah. It's
Mhm.
like it's like it's like a thing that a lot of genres have the problem of, where where we just kind of lose track.
It's mainly just in an effort to try and define it, it just sort of like slowly becomes something where it just is like misunderstood.
Yeah. And
Plunderphonics is the Frutiger arrow of music genres, is what I'm saying.
this is real high skirt. Hop on Frutiger era.
Mhm.
Oh my god. It's unfortunate, but when things get like sometimes like genre, they're kind of suggestion. They sometimes just like explode. It's like, okay, we're here now.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I guess this is. Oh, I guess this is what shoegaze is. Fuck it, man.
Mhm.
Oh, hyperpop.
But
Okay, this is hyperpop. No,
the cool
okay.
thing about it is, in a complete misunderstanding of what a genre or what a certain idea is supposed to be, you can get something completely new out of it.
Yeah,
So, what I don't really see it as like a positive thing or a negative thing. It really is just like a matter of, death of the author taking place.
yeah. Like what? Like the one that was brought up in the last interview. Like hyperpop just kind of is whatever is going on now.
Mhm.
It's some shit now.
Yeah, it hyperpop is kind of like vaporwave and how it's like constantly changing and constantly, adapting it to the times as an internet-based music genre would be.
Yeah. It's very cool to see all of these things like pop up based from like a seed of like a music genre like vaporwave. How a lot of vaporwave initially on like first impact was a little ironic, and then it became just like sincerely like nostalgic for a time or a vibe.
Yeah,
And I think all of the genre that like are a little tinged with irony just end up like losing it, and it's just like, okay, wait, well, we're trying to like make jokes of like this is something we should like, this is something I want to investigate like with no
mhm,
authenticity. And then you get a lot of stuff like, I want to say Death Dynamic Shroud because I remember that one album.
mhm.
That one album that I remember the name of. Ah,
There is not enough people willing to be into the wrong type of music or to be uncool. And I really do feel like the coolest thing that you can do is to truly embrace just things that are perceived as lame, but to you personally enjoy.
yeah, like it doesn't, nothing is lame unless you're like doing bad things. If you, that's like lame, but like
Yeah, I mean that goes without saying.
yeah, don't kill people. That sucks. Yeah, like,
Mhm,
but it's true. Like, you don't need to like out indie someone. You don't have to like out like niche anyone. You can just go like, I like the thing. I like the thing. I don't care if people don't care about it. I like, I don't know, like you can like shitty like radio pop from like the 2000s that kind of isn't that great, but it's like whatever, you
mhm.
like it. Like, you're not cooler than the person on Bandcamp who only listens to like shit with 10 listeners. Like, no one is cooler than anyone. You're both just kind of like enjoying yourselves.
Yeah, we all have our personal reasons for enjoying what we enjoy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, art is personal. But like both in the creation of it and the consumption of it.
Yeah, and the one thing that I really do feel like is important is to not just focus on, you know, explicitly commercial works, but also I highly recommend pretty much everyone that I know to actually like really go like uh, record searching through like Bandcamp or Rate Your Music
Yeah.
because if they like one thing, they'll probably find someone else that has done something sort of similar that no one else has heard of, or just like be exposed to something completely new when they know how to be their favorite thing. It's not a matter of just trying to like outcover someone. It's mainly just a means of seeing what's out there.
Yeah. I agree wholeheartedly where it's important to like remember to support indie artists because like obviously the commercial stuff is there and you're not bad for liking it, you're not like worse or anything, but there is
Mhm.
a connection you get from listening to something made by just like some guy in their like garage that like has similar ideas and thoughts to you or has like similar tastes to you that you will not get from like something that is marketed to you.
Pop music has gone like top 40 pop music has gone like a lot better, uh, especially now. But one of the like big problem that I feel with like the music industry currently is a lot of songs are just made so they can be licensed out and soundtracked.
Yeah.
So you really can't to you know expand upon a lot of things. You gotta like really make sure that it can work in like so many different scenarios. It needs to be played like over the speaker at a store. It needs to be played inside of a movie. It needs to be played in like some kids like TikTok. It needs to work in like all of these areas, and it ends up just kind of being nothing.
Mm.
And I really am glad that at least now there's been sort of like a resurgence of like outwardly sort of artsy pop music, I guess you could call it.
Yeah. I've never considered the soundtracking thing, but that like makes sense. Because I hear,
Yeah.
because I know especially with like big label types, when you're on like a big label, they like they have like expectations as to like how things are being made, and no one likes no one likes that.
hmm
But it's
The
because you
problem
need to
with
make a lot of money or someone else.
yeah, the problem with just trying to make something with as wide as an appeal as possible is mainly just the trying to appeal to like the lowest common denominator, sort of like loses that personal touch
Yeah.
that things really that art really sort of thrives on.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say lowest common denominator. I think it just becomes like so broad a lot of the times when you have like too many cooks like fucking with something, it becomes like so broad and so not. It becomes something completely different, where
Mhm.
where you kind of like lose it. You kind of lose the plot a little, or extreme amounts.
I totally agree with that. As with trying to stick to one like central vision, it's especially hard to do that when you're trying to accomplish so many different things at a single time.
Yeah, especially when there's like a lot of money to be made by for someone else, where they like just want something. They want something from you. The artistry doesn't matter. The money is what matters.
Mhm.
But such is the nature of commodification and capital. Blah. But let's not
Yeah.
get Marxist here. Oh no.
Whoa.
Uh-oh. Streamer. They're gonna kill you. The point being, enjoy what you like and look and support indie artists. The indie artists are musicians need more money. Give your local musician $100.
You should give me $100 right now. That's agnar.bandcamp.com. You can buy my discography, please. I need to buy Taco Bell later.
$100 talk about. If you want to be cool, like certified cool, donate to like 5 random Bandcamp musicians $100, and donate to my interview guest 200, and donate to me, the interviewer, 100.
Mhm.
That's how you become cool.
Yeah, those are the steps.
You would make their life. Like buying one person, like every donation I get, I go, oh wow. Everyone who supports me monetarily, I like am forever thankful. Because my ultimate goal as an artist, as a streamer, as the person who makes videos, as the person who writes things, as the person who does art, is to make it as much as possible. And therefore the ultimate goal is to be self-sufficient. That's
Yeah,
just
my absolute dream is to just since these creative habits just sort of like come naturally, I would love to just be able to, I don't know, put something out and that could be like how I could make a living. And I feel like that's what most people sort of like what their main goal is
yeah.
as well.
We all need to make a fuck ton of money. Everyone wants to move to the Alps. But instead of moving into the Alps, I think we need to move into the viewer question and move on to the next bit.
All
But wait,
right.
before we do that, I had another question. Last
Okay.
question before the viewer question. Is there anything you wish you'd known or experienced earlier that would have had a huge impact on you?
Mhm. That is honestly a really good question. And I'm going to try and think of something at the moment right now. What I really wish I kind of did, in all honesty, is just make stuff for myself for a while and sort of like hone in on my craft as much as I enjoy having like some like super early stuff out there, I honestly feel like if I just kept on making CDs for myself and my friends, and then years later I would start you know, posting about it publicly, that would have not only given me more time to sort of like hone in on my craft, but would also just sort of like make the stakes a lot lower, you know? So instead of just like appeasing to a bunch of strangers on the internet and being like super, super numbers focused, I would mainly just be like doing what I have always done, but now people can just like find it more accessibly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So on to the viewer question. It's uh oh my god, making stuff for strangers online is fucking wild.
Mhm.
'Cause, like, I don't know what people want. I just kind of click buttons and we go. We ball.
Exactly.
But I'm gonna share my screen real quick, and so you can hear the TTS and read the question, and you'll be able to hear Skylive 2024 set from you.
Ooh.
So, hold on, let me like pull up this, and then first question.
Kill, marry, fuck Windows Vista, Windows 8, Windows 11.
Oh my god, I hate them all. I guess I I guess Mary Vista, um, uh, fuck Windows 8, but not in like the sex way, and kill Windows 11.
Next question.
Is Simpson Wave a real genre?
No, it is mainly just like sort of like an internet meme that used to be a thing. I can't really decide if I yeah sort of miss Simpson Wave or just am really embarrassed that it happened at all. But Simpson Wave is not a music genre or like a artistic motif in the same way that something like vaporwave or sea punk might be.
I remember watching this end of the way video that they were dropping, going like, "Whoa."
Yeah, I do. Frank JFC is the only true Simpson waver.
Shout
That
out,
is my answer.
shout out Frank Japsty. Dude, I saw Frank Japsty at a furry convention, and I was like, "Wait, is that Frank Japsty?" And then I was like, "No." And someone told me like the
Yeah, of
day,
course it is.
and then someone like the day after told me I saw Frank Japsty at. I was hanging out with Frank Japsty. I was like, "Oh my god, wait, he was here."
Yeah,
Oh my god.
shout out Frank JFC.
I remember learning how to do so much shit in fucking FL Studio when I was in high school because of his videos.
I'm gonna go on like a little ramble about Frank JFC. One thing that really helped me out to like honing in my craft was his videos because he basically taught me to just sort of like have fun with it and not really take things super super seriously
Yeah,
while still just like just make things and have fun
yeah.
primarily.
Like, not everything has to be like super serious. You don't have to like actually be clocking in. You can just enjoy yourself. Like, we can have fun while making stuff. That's not illegal. I think we all like to have fun
Exactly.
here. Type one if you like to have fun. I say this and I'm putting as in like microphone. Oh,
Oh no.
okay, we're good. Anyway. Shout out Frank Jeffy for real though. Real
Yeah,
one. Absolute real one.
I was able to meet him at Electronicon 3 in Brooklyn, and he is such a sweet guy. He is also super super genuine as well. Like his like the way that he presents himself online is very, very similar to how he is in person. And he was just super, super fun to talk to and super approachable.
That's awesome. I'm so
Mhm.
happy. Next question though.
Some view music as a cultural expression of social consequence. How has the internet helped or hindered the development of the electronic sound when compared to the history of dance music?
I feel like, in the sense of electronic music, I feel like with file sharing being much more available, more people have access to tools. In that way, more and more people can just make cool shit, pretty much. And with that, again, there is the whole homogenization of what electronic music should be, or you got to make this type of thing in order to get a million billion streams on Spotify. But there is also someone out there who has the tools to make something really, really interesting, and they wouldn't be able to make it if it wasn't for relative access to the internet and being able to like download a DAW or download a bunch of samples.
Yeah.
Like Plunderphonics and remix culture really did explode when everyone just suddenly was able to download whatever video that they want, whatever like music file that they want, and just mess around with it.
Shout out to the internet for real.
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship, as these past few hours have kind of shown.
Yeah. We love it when we love hold on, what's the word thing you can say? We love twitter.com and we hate indie artists.
Correct. That is my exact means of what I do.
Yeah, we only make art to give Grok money.
I need to get Grok money.
Speaking of Grok, next question.
Thoughts on therapsids?
Plots on Therapsids? I don't know what Therapsis is.
Oh, it's a creature.
Oh, I love them.
Oh,
This
creature.
is my first time seeing them, and you know what? Top tier creature. I would love to just give them a bone or something.
Real. And final question.
Who is your dream person to boss up with?
Dream person to boss up with. That's a. I mean, there's a lot of different people that I would absolutely love to work with, both just like my own contemporaries and people that I've been like listening to their work forever. But I feel like the main dream I feel would to, I don't know, work on something with Vectroid or put something out on like Warp Records. And if we're going like really, really out there, I guess do a collaboration with Moby, I guess. I feel like that would be honestly kind of fun. And yeah, I guess that's just like a little short list of like absolute like dream people to work with.
Oh my god, shout out, shout out. Shout out Warp Records. They're so cool. Wait, after the interview, I need to show you something I'm working on. Speaking of,
Please do.
I showed you something wacky before. I'm gonna show you something wacky after. Um,
Okay.
but that concludes the viewer question segment of this. Now we had to get overly sincere, even though we've already been overly sincere the entire time. That's the vibe.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
tell me a story. This is the penultimate situation. So tell me a story about a mundane thing that you still think about.
Well, in my recent memory, when I visited Japan, I was just outside of a convenience store, just having like a very small lunch, and this old man was just walking his dog, and I just waved to the dog, and we just started like smiling and laughing, and he kept on just saying "arigato, arigato," and just that like small bit of like human connection, even though that I didn't really like say anything was honestly just really, really beautiful to me. And there's been like multiple moments sort of like that where I've just been able to just have like a human connection with someone without really like having to say a thing or having to necessarily like do something.
Tell me a story about an artistic experience that you still think about.
Mhm. When I was first making music, I had the idea of just recording this mixtape to VHS tape and back. And during the process of the recording everything, my laptop just flat out died during the like recording of that. So that was sort of like a harsh lesson to learn, but it definitely made me realize that there is a time and place to really hone in and use the resources that I have in order to sort of like make something interesting. And there is a time and place to use those resources.
Tell me a story about a person you still think about.
Well, one thing that I really do miss and used to do is just my friends and I would go on like these long sort of like drives around town, and we would just end up in these interesting places, whether they be like, you know, abandoned stores or like train tunnels or just sort of like on the outskirts of town, seeing like the lights just sort of like flicker and all that. And I really just sort of like miss that feeling of just being around people and just sort of like that sort of like odd sense of melancholy, I guess.
Thank you so much for sharing your stories.
Hmm.
And
Thank you for having me on here.
and thank you
I
so
hope
much.
I
And
hope I was coherent enough.
oh no, you were. This was a lovely talk. I'm very happy we got to talk. I'm happy we like got straight into it before we like did the
Yeah.
introduction. But it's time for the final section of the interview. And also thank you everybody for coming out, and thank you everybody for being here and all those who asked questions. It means a lot to have you all here, and it means a lot to have the ability to have the thing to have have a platform. Oh my god. To have a platform to like talk about all of this and talk to people and share it with
Mhm.
everyone. So, on to the final section proper. Is there anyone you'd like to shout out?
Yeah, there are a few people that I can shout out off the top of my head. There's Zico from First Class Collective, which is a vaporwave label. There's Netbooks World and Hypara, which I have shouted out earlier in the stream, but you should also check out their work as well. And I just shout out to all of my friends here in Billings, Montana, and shout out to pretty much anyone that has ever really cared about whatever I had to say.
Are there any parting words you'd like to leave everyone on?
My main parting word is just to hone in like the main sort of thing that we have been talking about all throughout this entire stream is you have the resources to make something that no one else could even think of like existing, and you can bring that out into the world, and that's a beautiful thing.
Into the final question. Is there anything you'd like to say to someone who cannot hear this?
Mhm. All right. Trying to get my brain neurons all together. The main thing that I would tell someone is that the world is theirs, including the internet, and it's best to just sort of like take control of what you can. Make sure that you create something that no one else is able to make. Make something that's personal. Make something that's sincere. Make something that's vulnerable. Try to avoid irony, and just recognize that there is someone out there that might understand what your thought process is. And if someone hears it, they're going to feel just a tiny bit less alone.
Beautifully put. Beautiful words and things to say. Thank you so much for coming out. It was lovely talking.
Thank you.
No, the actual final question. No troll. Is there anyone you'd like me to rate on to?
Uh, there is no one currently live at the moment, but I assume you know best in that regard.
Okay. I will raid into my friend Young Station because who reviews mammals. Because Archibald came in this fucking interview, said it, that they rolled a fucking adjective I described. I'm like, oh wait. But thank you so much for coming out. Raid message everybody. As always, is your favorite heart emoji. And is there any message you'd like to add to the raid?
All right, my message to add to the raid is live like it's 2007.
Thank you everybody for coming out. And we'll see you all soon. And we have more interviews to come and many more days. Goodbye. Goodbye.